Good evening, my friends. Pause for a moment. Notice what you've been doing without realizing you were doing it. You've been pushing forward, reaching, straining, trying to pull the future toward you with the sheer weight of your wanting. And the more you reach, the further it slips. You've felt that, haven't you? That quiet ache of effort that produces nothing. That hollow tiredness at the end of a day in which you tried so hard to make something happen and somehow nothing moved at all. Here's what no one told you. You've been moving in the wrong direction. Not slower, not harder, not with the wrong technique or the wrong affirmation or the wrong vision board. The wrong direction entirely. You think the dream lives somewhere ahead of you, out there, in a future you have to earn. So you face forward, hands open, hoping the universe is generous enough to drop something into them. But generosity has nothing to do with this. Direction does. Turn around. I don't mean stop wanting. I mean stop walking toward it. Walk away from it, from the having of it. Not from where you think you're going, but from where you've already arrived. This is what they call thinking backward, and it sounds like a riddle until the moment it doesn't. Most people imagine the future like a map. They are here, the wish is over there. They draw a line between the 2 points and call that line the journey. Every step is a struggle, because every step confirms the distance. Every effort silently insists that the thing is far. The map itself is the problem. The map is what keeps the destination distant. You don't need a map, you need a memory. Consider how memory actually works. When you remember last Tuesday, you aren't reaching for it. You're not hoping it happened. You aren't trying to convince yourself. You simply know. The event has weight in you because it's already done. There is nothing to chase. There's only something to recall. The recollection is calm, effortless, slightly boring even. And that quality of being slightly boring is exactly what you've been missing. That same quiet certainty, that effortless knowing, is the only state from which your desire moves into form. So you reverse the order. Instead of standing in lack and stretching toward fullness, you stand in fullness and look back at lack as something you've already left behind. You don't ask, how will I get the money? You sit in the calm of someone who has it and quietly notices, I remember when I worried about this. I remember when this seemed far away. I remember when I used to refresh my account and feel my chest tighten. That was a long time ago now. Notice what just happened in your body if you read that slowly. Something settled, something exhaled. That is the state. That is the entire thing. There is no further teaching. There is no advanced version. That softening, that low, quiet hum of having, that is what manifests. Take the relationship you want. The forward way is to think, when will they call? Will they call? Please let them call. Why haven't they called? What does it mean that they haven't called? The backward way is simpler and stranger. You sit in the after. The conversation has already happened. You're not anticipating it. You're recovering from it. You're already in the mood that follows it. Warm, at ease, loved. Not striving for the feeling, wearing it. There's a difference between wanting love and being someone who has it. The wanting bends the spine forward. The having lets the shoulders drop. Your body knows which one you're in. And the world, more than anything else, responds to your body, not your words, not your visualizations, not your demands. The world rearranges itself around the state you actually inhabit, not the state you petition for. This is why effort fails. Effort is forward-facing. Effort says, it is not yet here, and I must drag it across the threshold. But what is dragged in by effort is dragged out by exhaustion. What is assumed, quietly, naturally, without performance, has nowhere else to go. It must show up. It's already in you. The world is just catching up. You've done this accidentally 1,000 times. Think of something you didn't even know you wanted, and it arrived without strain. You weren't striving. You were simply living as if your life were already that shape, and the world matched you. You called that luck. It wasn't luck. It was a state you happened to occupy. And the outer world is always an echo of the state. The things you fought hardest for were the things you secretly believed you didn't have. The things that came easily were the things you assumed. Read that again. The things that came easily were the things you assumed. So nothing is missing. Read that slowly. Nothing is missing. The thing you want isn't ahead of you in time. It's behind you in awareness. You haven't turned around yet to see it. Turn around now. Sit where the desire is already met, not as fantasy. Fantasy still faces forward. Fantasy still says someday. fantasy still tastes of longing. Sit as someone who already has the thing and has had it long enough to no longer be surprised by it. The bills are paid. They've been paid. The call came. It came hours ago, and you've already moved on to the next thing. The body you're building is the body you wake up in. Routine. Familiar. Yours. The career you're praying for is the one you complain about being busy with. Feel the relief of that. The relief is the proof. When effort drops, you've found it. Don't try to manifest from this place. The trying is the forward motion. Just stay here. Live a few minutes inside this. Walk through your kitchen as the version of you who already won. Pour your water like that person. Sit down like them. Look at the people around you with the eyes of someone who already has what they prayed for. Let it be unremarkable. Let it be old news. And then go about your day. You don't have to manage what comes next. The bridge of incidents builds itself. People you needed to meet appear. Calls arrive. A door opens that you didn't know existed. The strange phone number lights up your screen. The casual conversation in line at the store changes the trajectory of your year. None of this is your doing. None of it can be your doing, because doing is forward, and you are no longer facing that direction. This is the part that frightens people. The not doing, the not checking, the not asking when. They mistake the stillness for stagnation. They feel guilty for resting in the having. They believe somewhere underneath that suffering is the price of arrival, that if it came too easily, it doesn't count, that if they didn't strain for it, they didn't earn it. Drop that. It's the oldest lie. It's the one that's kept you in the same rooms, the same bank balance, the same loops for years. Stillness is what allows the world to move. A pond can only reflect the sky when it stops trembling. The trembling is your wanting. The reflection is your having. You cannot have both at the same time. Be still. The thing has already happened. You are not building it, you are remembering it into form. Let me say it another way, because some part of you is still trying to turn this into a method. There is no method. There is no technique you have to perfect. You don't have to repeat the right phrase a certain number of times. You don't have to feel a certain way for a certain duration. You don't have to earn the state through suffering or prove your devotion through ritual. You only have to occupy the end. And occupying the end is not an action. It's the absence of all the actions you used to take from the beginning. You stop checking. You stop calculating odds. You stop rehearsing failure. You stop reminding yourself how badly you want it. None of that belongs to a person who already has the thing. So none of that is yours anymore. And in the silence left behind, your life begins to shift. You'll notice it first in small ways. A coincidence that feels too neat. A piece of news from someone you haven't thought about in years. A sudden ease in a conversation that used to be tense. The signs are quiet because the state is quiet. Loud signs come from loud states, and loud states come from people who are still trying. You're not trying anymore. Let me give you a small example. Money. Watch what most people do. They check their account, see less than they wanted, feel the chest tighten, and go look for ways to make more. The looking is downstream of the lack. Everything they then attract, the underpaid work, the squeezing client, the offer that almost works but doesn't, comes from the state of lack, the looking confirmed. Now picture the reverse. You don't check from worry. You don't even particularly need to check. You move through your day with the casual ease of someone whose money handles itself. You spend without flinching on what matters. You don't hover over small purchases, not because you're being reckless, because you're being someone who has enough. The money has already arrived in your nervous system. The bank is just paperwork. That person attracts a different life, not because the universe rewards them for their good attitude, because the universe is a mirror, and the mirror returns what stands in front of it. You stand in lack, you get lack reflected. You stand in plenty, you get plenty reflected. There's no morality in this. It's mechanics. The same with health. The forward way is to fight your body, to push it, punish it, monitor it, distrust it. The backward way is to be the person whose body already works. Move like that person, eat like that person, rest like that person, not because you're disciplined, because you're already them. The discipline of the forward way is exhausting. The naturalness of the backward way is, well, natural. It doesn't deplete you, it expresses you. The same with the relationship. The forward way analyzes every text, every silence, every micro shift in tone. The backward way simply lives in the warmth of the relationship as if it's been settled for years. Not performing security, being it. The performance is forward, the being is backward. You can feel the difference instantly if you check in with your shoulders. Your shoulders, by the way, are a better guide than your mind. Your mind will lie to you about which state you're in. It will rehearse confidence while your shoulders quietly confess fear. So check the body. The body never gets the assignment wrong. Here is the strange thing about all of this. You already do it perfectly with the things you don't care about. Your morning coffee. You don't manifest your morning coffee. You don't visualize it for 20 minutes. You don't repeat affirmations about deserving caffeine. You walk to the kitchen as a person who has coffee in their life. The having is so settled it doesn't even register. And the coffee, of course, appears every single morning. What if your dream life were as settled in you as your morning coffee? That's the assignment. That's the only assignment. Not to want harder, to assume more deeply, to let the having become so ordinary that it falls beneath the surface of your mind, the way coffee has, the way your name has, the way your own face in the mirror has. You don't argue with your face, you just have it. Have your life the same way. Now, the part of you that has been trained to grind will resist this. It will say, but I have to do something. I have to take action. I have to make it happen. And the answer is yes, you will take action, but not the action you're imagining. The action that comes from the having state is different from the action that comes from the wanting state. The first kind is light, obvious, almost playful. It looks like ordinary living. It doesn't strain. The second kind is heavy, forced. It feels like proving something. The first kind moves the world. The second kind exhausts you and leaves the world untouched. You don't need more action. You need a different state for your action to come from. This is why two people can do the exact same thing and get opposite results. Not because the universe favored one, because the state behind the action was different. One acted from already having, the other acted from desperately needing. Same email, same call, same offer, different state, different outcome. The state is everything. So when you catch yourself reaching, leaning forward, asking when, and you will repeatedly for the rest of your life, you don't punish yourself. You don't even fight it. You simply notice the direction your body is pointing and you turn it around. That's the whole practice. Turning around again and again and again. Not as discipline, but as recognition. Each time you turn, you remember a little more clearly that the thing was never ahead of you. It was always something you were carrying. After a while, the turning becomes automatic. After a while longer, you forget there was ever another direction. Now consider what happens at night, in those last minutes before sleep. This is where most people unknowingly cement their next day. They lie down and run through the day's failures, the unread message, the bill that's coming, the meeting they dread. They pour all of that into the soil of sleep, and then wonder why their morning feels like the same field they planted yesterday. The mind that goes to sleep is the mind that wakes. Whatever state you fall asleep inside of is the state your tomorrow grows out of. So watch the last conversation you have with yourself before you drift. Watch what you rehearse in those final dim moments. That rehearsal is more powerful than anything you'll do at noon. Fall asleep in the having, just that. Not as a technique to fix tomorrow, as a quiet act of going to bed at home in the life you want. The conversation you wished had gone well, let it have gone well in your mind as you drift. The body you wished you had, let it be the body settling into the sheets. The amount in the account you wished was there, let it already be there as you exhale into the pillow. You're not lying to yourself. You're choosing which truth to inhabit at the threshold where truth gets planted. And in the morning, don't reach for your phone. The phone is forward. The phone pulls you out of yourself before you've finished arriving in yourself. Lie there a moment. Stretch. Feel the bed. Be the person who has what they wanted before the world has had a chance to inform you otherwise. 5 minutes of that is worth more than 5 hours of striving later in the day. Now consider how other people appear in your life. You think of them as separate, independent, acting on their own. But notice, the people who keep showing up share a frequency with the state you keep occupying. The dismissive boss, the unreliable friend, the cold partner. They are not random. They are not bad luck. They are casting calls for the role you keep auditioning for. When the state shifts, the cast shifts. People who no longer match simply drift. Not dramatically, just quietly. Their calls thin out, their relevance fades. New people appear almost without explanation who match the new state. You don't have to manage this. You couldn't if you tried. The cast list is updated by the state, not by your effort. This is why the same problems keep showing up with different names. New job, same boss energy. New partner, same dynamic. New city, same loneliness. The geography changed, the state didn't. So the world handed you the same pattern in a fresh costume. You don't fix this by chasing better people. You fix it by becoming someone the old patterns no longer fit. There's also the matter of doubt. Let's name it directly, because pretending it won't come is a kind of forward motion in itself. Doubt will arrive. It will arrive specifically when you've started to settle into the new state, because the old state, the lack, the wanting, has its own gravity. It doesn't release you politely. It tugs. It whispers. It says, look around. Nothing has changed. Who are you fooling? When doubt comes, you don't argue with it. Arguing is forward. Arguing keeps you in conversation with the lack. You simply notice it the way you'd notice weather, a cloud passing, a draft through the room. You don't have to evict it. You just don't have to follow it. The state doesn't require the absence of doubt. It only requires that you don't make the doubt your home. You can have a fearful thought and still be standing in the having. The thought is a visitor. The state is the house. As long as you keep the house, the visitors come and go and nothing is disturbed. And there's something else worth saying because it tends to surface when people start to taste this. A small voice that says, but what if I'm doing it wrong? What if I'm not feeling it strongly enough? What if my visualization wasn't vivid enough? What if I missed the technique? Listen carefully. The asking of those questions is the proof you've slipped back into forward motion. Those questions belong to someone trying to earn an outcome. The person who already has it doesn't audit their feelings. They don't grade their own state. They just live. Stop grading yourself. Stop checking whether you're doing it right. The checking is the doing, and the doing is what you're trying to put down. Trust is the word, although it's been worn out by overuse. What it really means is you can let go of the steering wheel of a car you were never actually driving. The car was always going to go where the state took it. Your hands on the wheel were a performance. Take them off. Notice the car still moves. Notice it moves better. That's faith. Not believing harder, releasing what you were never holding in the first place. And one day you'll look at your life and notice that the things you used to ache for are now simply present. They didn't arrive in a thunderclap. They arrived the way Tuesday arrives, quietly, ordinarily, without announcement. You'll almost miss the moment they showed up, because by the time they did, you were already living as if they had. That's the quiet trick of it. By the time the world catches up to your state, the wanting is long gone, and you barely register the arrival as a miracle. It just feels like life, your life, the one you were always supposed to have. People will ask you how you did it. You won't have a good answer. You'll mumble something about belief or attitude or luck. They'll think you're being modest. You're not. There genuinely isn't a method to point to. You just stopped facing the wrong way. That's all this ever was. You weren't supposed to chase your life. You were supposed to remember it. Stand still now. Feel your breath move without your help. Feel the floor hold you up without your effort. Feel the air enter you without your permission. None of this requires your striving. None of it ever did. The life you want is built the same way your breath is built, by something deeper than you're trying, by something quieter than you're wanting, by a part of you that already knows, has always known, and is only waiting for the rest of you to stop interfering. Stop interfering. Turn around. It's already done.